All right, we're on air. It is Thursday, March 21st. This is a meeting to check in on active development tasks for Backdrop CMS. Do you want to use your agenda? Or do you want to use mine?
Let's use yours so we're looking at the screen.
Okay. So this week in the community, we have a new contributor, Basasa. I don't know how you say that. Someone new sent a maintainer application. They're currently working on the import-export module, which is a module I haven't actually heard of for Drupal, so that'll be great to get some new ones in.
What is this?
We also have 3 new contributed project updates. So the modules for content type clone, image resize filter, and views accordion have been published and are now available on backdropcms.org, which is great. Updates for backdropcms.org, the website itself. We know we have an issue with our progress on the homepage demo button. The only thing I thought was exciting this week is that we just talked to Adam, and he mentioned that he would be interested in putting Backdrop on Simply Test Me, which I also thought would be rather exciting.
You know what else is worth covering is the work on upgrading backdropcms.org to PHP 7 or 7.2. So Justin Christofferson has been working through getting a new server set up on Linode, and he's actually already set up all of the software needed and pulled over all of the Backdrop sites, including the API site, the forums, the main site, the translation site, all of our sites over onto the new server. I think he's awaiting some feedback as to what
Site name,
host name we want on the server, which is pretty trivial. But it's available for testing now. You can actually, if you would modify your hosts file, your local etc hosts file, and say that the new IP address is www, or not www, but backdropcms.org or the forum site or whatever.
You can look at them.
You can look at all of the new.
And where can we find the new IP address? Is it in the ticket?
It's in the ticket,
Okay.
yeah. I'm trying to pull it up, but I couldn't find it right off the bat. So
It's in the backdropcms.org.
here we go. It's 479 in the backdropcms.org issue queue.
Okay.
So that's very exciting, and that hopefully, I haven't actually tried it out yet, but that hopefully will also resolve the demo button problem, because there's some kind of PHP to command line problem that is only happening on the current server, which is running old version of PHP 5.4.
Have you been able to test the demo button on the new server to see if that issue is resolved?
I have not, but
okay, we should do that.
That's the thing, is that if I point my host file at the new server, we could just see if the button works now, because it should.
But it's not, oh, but it's because we've got the separate page there, we can test it. Yep, okay, cool. Also, I'm not sure if we talked about this last week or not, but we have a new security release policy, which was voted on and adopted by the PMC. And so I updated our security page on backdropcms.org/security to include our core update process under the security releases section, the first paragraph there. And then we also updated the contributed section based on discussions last week. So that's just kind of open for feedback. If anyone reads that security page and has any issues with it, we are open to adjusting language there to make it clear what's going on. So just to mention that again, in case you are curious about reading our security page, that would be good to get some feedback on. Okay, so that's it for our website and other surrounding exciting things like people and modules. So let's turn it over to Backdrop CMS itself.
All right, so you want Backdrop CMS to start talking?
Yeah, go ahead, Backdrop.
Okay, well, yesterday, any observers of the Backdrop world probably noticed that there was a security release of Backdrop 1.12.5. Came out yesterday to coordinate with a security release of Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. So it was affecting file uploads in a way, and so we made a release to coordinate with that. So there were also a couple of other things, small things that got put into 1.12.5. I think
fixes.
2 RTL issues I think were also in
Nice.
1.12.5. But that was basically just the security issue, and
those fixes.
Those fixes, yeah. So things that we have been talking about in previous weeks have now been bumped over to 1.12.6 as the next bug fix release. There's RTL issues are continuing to move forward. The CK editor icons being broken in RTL now works from a it functionally works now, but it still has some minor padding and margin problems. So it had been marked RTBC earlier today. I bumped it back down to needs work. But it's really close now to get that RTL issue resolved. I think there was another RTL issue that I also did similar, like it's really close, but not quite. So those continue to come in and get fixed at a rapid pace, which is really great. Let's see. Other things that we're working through, still highly relevant, that we're working on this issue to make it so that multiple different minor versions of Backdrop can have equivalent security status, basically saying that the previous release can be fully patched and be secure, even though there are newer versions of Backdrop available. So that issue 3524 is titled Support Multiple Equivalent Security Releases. So like we released 1.11.7, I think, yesterday, or 1.11.8, which coordinated with 1.12.5. And both of those are equally secure. But if you're on the 1.11 branch, it still kind of yells at you saying you need to upgrade to 1.12, when in fact, you're fine.
You're secure.
Yeah. So we'd like to make it so that it wouldn't yell at you.
So that's marked needs code. Does that issue have a discussion of what the code should do to fix that problem?
Yeah,
Okay.
generally.
So I feel like we've talked about that a lot, but if I were to go to work on it, I don't remember the solution. So as long as it's in the issue, that's good.
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging because it will require changes on both backdropcms.org and the update module.
Okay.
Yeah. But each side can be done independently. And we do have tests, like the simple tests that are for update module, work off of like mock XML files.
Those have to get updated too.
Those have to get updated too to test the equivalent functionality.
Okay.
So the tests don't require a remote server though. So at least using the mocks, you could write the tests and update the code inside of Backdrop without updating backdropcms.org yet.
Okay.
So we don't need anything server side in order to fully test it. Like it should be fully testable just in the Backdrop code base.
Okay. That might be something good to work on in the sprint this weekend. So I'm gonna make a list of good issues for sprinting.
And lastly, we have a PHP fatal error for people coming from 1.11 and previous versions. If you had options element installed, you have to uninstall options element before upgrading to 1.12. And we'd like to make it so that that could happen a little bit more gracefully.
We're just going to wrap that in an if not function exists check.
You know, I guess that actually would work, but I just hate doing that. Like
we can do that and mark it as like removing backdrop 2.x or whatever, and that way, as long as we get that cleaned up, I think it'll be messy, but only for a little while.
Yeah, or maybe move it to an include file at the same time, so the if would only wrap around an include statement rather than indenting hundreds of lines of code.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I will write that into that issue so that
there may also be a problem of like load order, you know, because it's not guaranteed that options module would come after options element module. Mm-hmm. So the function might not exist depending on the order in which the modules are loaded.
And would it be the same on every Backdrop site, or would that likely be different?
It would be the same on every site.
We could do the same thing in options element contrib. That wouldn't matter though, because they already got it. They're already stuck with
that's the problem that we have, is that options element was updated now to make it so that on new
lower version of core or something.
Yeah, lower version of core. So now it's kind of fixed already, but people have to update. Version,
which is weird anyway, because you break during the update.
Yeah. This is one of those things that unfortunately becomes less relevant the longer it's not fixed. Because
I still think it would be good to make people's update experience as good as possible. That's kind of what we're trying to prove, is that it's going to be easier in Backdrop.
I know, but the time to prove that is already kind of past, you know.
Yeah, but still doing something about it, I think, is, you know, to prove that we care. Though we do care less over time. Good point. All right. So that is 112.6 now.
Oh yeah,
The issues there.
112.6. Yep.
Okay. And then 113.
Yeah, so the next minor version, 113, will be coming out May 15th. Feature freeze will be May 1st. It seems like now it's kind of getting to the point that's becoming like on the horizon. Yeah, here at the end of March. So let's see. So we've got items that we'd like to include in 113. I think that there's one issue that's in 113 only. Which one that is slips my mind, but let's see. Items that we're working on getting in 1376, add back file formatters. It's not actually file formatters, it's field formatters.
Yeah.
That matches some functionality that had been removed from Drupal or removed from Drupal 7.
Accidentally.
Well,
it was when taxonomy became a term reference field. They didn't include the same formatters that were in 6. So it was an accidental oversight. But then there was a module for 7, so the urgency just decreased. But if we get that module in core, then it'll make it better for people upgrading from 6.
So that issue has a pull request that completely adds or restores the missing functionality, and there's a contrib module that depends upon it that doesn't have a release yet, that you can install the contrib module and apply the core patch, and then they actually work together. But
there's also a contrib module that does that exact same thing.
I'm
using on a couple sites.
Right. So you can use the contrib module, and you can use both contrib modules together and they work, or you can use not the contrib module.
I haven't seen the other one, the one with the dependency.
Okay. But, well, in any case, the problem that we have with that one, the functionality is all there, but it needs tests. We can't add a new API to core and have it be completely untested, because we'd have no idea if we broke it unless we have some kind of test coverage. So test coverage for something that core doesn't use directly is unfortunately extra tedious, because you have to write a test-only module that uses the functionality that core is exposing. And
you can't just change a formatter on an existing thing and then check the markup for commas or whatever. It seems like you should just be able to add that to an existing test that tests the term reference field and see if it.
Okay, well, if it's but core's term reference field doesn't use that.
Right, so you change the formatter like in a config set, and then you test the markup of the field.
Okay, well,
I don't know, I haven't tried it, but I don't think it's going to be that hard.
Okay, well, the current test or suggestion for testing it is like install this contrib module and see that it works now. And it's like, that's not going to work for getting a pull request in.
Yeah, I think that's unnecessary. I mean, this provides a new option in the UI that will change your markup. So I think that's all we need to test.
Okay.
I don't know what the API is you're talking about here, but that might also need testing. That might be what they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's keep rolling on. That one's coming along really closely, though. It's been RTBC, but I came in and was the bad guy and said we need test coverage.
Okay.
So next up is telemetry 285. Telemetry is functionality that we're going to start collecting things like the version of PHP and MySQL and other information about how Backdrop is configured on a particular site. Opt-in, of course, or I think that is the intention. But thus far, we haven't actually written any code. It's just kind of concept things. I mentioned this last week and most weeks that although this will involve interaction between backdropcms.org and Backdrop installations, like the API can be like basically fabricated, and then you can work on either side independently as long as the API is established, like what information is being sent and how, like probably via JSON information like being consumed on the way up, or and then like post data being sent on the way in, something along those lines. So yeah, there's no progress on that one though. Still just discussion. Dashboard is really close. I'd say that we're kind of in the final parts of review there. There's continuing to be more suggestions that are coming in. I think that there's some satisfaction with people saying we're at a pretty good point, that it's close enough to get that in, and then iterate on top of it from there. So that's coming along really well. Anything you'd like to say on Dashboard?
No, just I think Gregory filed a pull request against my pull request. I will take a look at that today. But other than that, I think it's ready for like a more technical review. So the feature set is complete enough for merge. There's a list of, like a list of additional things we can do in follow-up issues, and I've started creating those follow-up issues, assuming they won't be included. So I think we've got all the features we want. We just need to make sure the code is good. I'm not sure it has tests.
Yeah, and needs tests. Does everything. So
yeah, it looks like someone's got to spend some time writing tests. That might be me. Okay. Looks like we have new translatable strings in core config files.
That issue 3455, Herb Duell wrote over a month back, actually, that has been needing review for quite some time.
Okay.
Just making it so that pretty much all config files in core will need to list their translatable strings. And 3455 is the first pass at that for some system settings like site name and slogan, and I think emails,
Okay.
like the welcome emails. So still needs review on that.
And is that going to be an ongoing issue for all core config files? There'll be sort of a meta that's like we need to go through all the
Yeah,
configs.
I actually think that is the meta, and 3455 is the meta, and then there's a link to the one that makes the
Okay.
initial start.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, and lastly, on the 113 hit list is package signing, issue 1992. John Franklin put up a substantial amount of new code a couple of weeks ago, in progress, but needs review from some more eyeballs there. I think he's posted like a massive amount of stuff, but we need to like go through and actually process what that means and how we would actually leverage it. Yeah, so I still don't have more to add on that because I haven't had time to review it.
Okay. So that is it for our issues for 113.0. I think the only change here between this week and last week is the addition of the field formatters issue, and that one got thrown up there because it was RTPC, and I thought it would be worth discussing since we're so close to getting it in. It would be a good feature inclusion for the next version of Backdrop. But yeah, everything else is looking like it's coming along great. And I just want to say a special thanks to everybody who's been pitching in with all of the security releases recently. We've had a whole bunch of community collaboration, new people join the security team and helping us get all the issues out, or releases out. So really appreciate all of the involvement from everyone.
Yeah, yesterday, Jen and I were teaching a class actually during the security release, and we had Tim in the back of the class and saying, hey, there's a security release that's coming out today. And we're like, oh boy. So Jen took the lead on the class, so we sat down and everything had been put in place by community members. So Gregory took a strong lead in getting that coordinated up to the point that like we had to have somebody actually do the committing and tagging of the releases. But then that took less than an hour of my time actually doing the tagging and the releasing, and then I went back to teaching the class, and the rest of the release was all handled.
The release was done before the class was over, and so the version of Backdrop I was showing people got the little red dot on it, and was like, time for an update. I'm like, oh, you guys did the release already? That was great. So it was fantastic to have everybody pitching in on that. Okay, so that's it for the official agenda. Justin, I noticed you joined the call. We did mention at the very beginning of the meeting all of the great work you're doing on the new server. It looks like there's an issue where you need a host name information from us. Is there anything else that's blocking you on that?
No. I finished everything that I have in the test.
Oh, I don't think we have sound from you, Justin.
I can tell you're not muted, but we can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Technical issue.
I can hear you fine.
Oh, weird.
Oh, really?
We can hear you, Mike, but we can't hear Justin. So strange.
Well, I heard him. He was talking,
What did he-
and I heard him.
What did he say, Mike?
I wasn't paying attention.
Can you interpret for me?
He's laughing now. He said, can you interpret for me?
Yeah,
you guys
gotta-
not hear that?
No, it's very strange. I bet the only recording everything is probably fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
but-
Okay, we'll go watch
I'll interpret.
or you can
Again.
just type into the chat, Justin. That would work better, I think, maybe.
Okay.
What were you gonna say, Justin? For everyone else, that's not them.
Nope.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah, well, he's probably good.
Oh, he's back.
Do you guys hear me now?
We can't hear you still.
Yeah,
I
there's
can
still
hear you.
not. That's so
I-
strange.
I think the problem must be on their end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have mic only audio over here.
Oh,
right,
here,
Justin.
let me turn off the Justin filter.
Oh no.
Well, you shouldn't have blocked him, Nate. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
anyway,
well.
Justin, did you have something you want to say? Okay, I guess he's
Nah.
nah.
All right. Well, Mike, do you have anything exciting to add?
No, I was just doing some security. I was updating my site to the new security update. So
Okay.
even though it probably didn't need it because it doesn't have it, it probably is not affected, but I'll do it anyway because that's good practice.
Okay.
I like your glasses, Justin. They're pretty similar to my glasses.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, we'll call it a meeting. Thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Thank you guys for joining. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the Backdrop issue and in Gitter and on
We're
the
going to be
internet.
sprinting on Saturday, so if you have nothing else better to do this weekend, if you want to join in on Gitter, I'm sure there'll be a lot of activity.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get through some things, or I'm gonna try to get through some things in the review queue. We still have like almost a dozen items in RTBC, which is awesome. Hopefully, I won't just go through and tell everybody that they
Maybe
need
tests.
tests on everything. So,
That is your job.
okay, all right. Well, thanks again. See you guys later.